Hey guys, how's it going? Powen here, and welcome to another DIY tech video by ACUiTY Instruments. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be installing the 9th gen fully adjustable short shifter for this 9th gen Civic Si right behind me. So if you're looking for the best short shifter upgrade for your 9th gen Civic, this is it. With 4 points of adjustability, this short shifter can be tailored to perfectly suit your driving style. Alright, so the first thing out of the box is the actual short shifter itself. The next thing is the offset and upper rod assembly that attaches to the shifter that also affixes the shift knob. And lastly, we also have a small bag of hardware in order to bolt the actual shifter to the chassis of the car. Okay, so I've moved the parts off to the side. Now let's go over the tools you're going to need. So you're going to start off with a 14mm wrench. You're going to need a ratchet and an extension that comes with it. You're also going to need a 12 and a 10mm socket. You're also going to need a screwdriver that has a Phillips and a flathead attachment. And then lastly, you're going to need a plastic trim removal tool. Now these tools are all necessary in order to remove the center console to get access to the shifter assembly. The last thing you guys are going to need is a set of Allen sockets in order to make all the necessary adjustments on the new shifter and then bolt the new shifter to the chassis of the car. In this video, we're going to be using a 5mm Allen head socket to make those adjustments. And then lastly, of course, don't forget that we're going to need a torque wrench in order to make sure all the hardware and adjustments are torqued back down to the proper specifications. So with the tools explained, let's go ahead and install the offset and the upper rod section. It's as easy as loosening this hex screw on the side of the offset, sliding it onto the shifter, and then tightening it down. However, before you actually tighten anything down, be sure to note all of the hardware specifications that are etched in on the top and on the sides of various components that you'll be able to adjust on this shifter. So now that we have the offset attached, time to actually go over all 4 points of adjustability on this short shifter. So to start off with the offset section here, if you loosen the same hex screw that tightened it down onto the shifter assembly, you can actually clock it in any direction you please, allowing you to really position the shift knob a little bit closer to you, a little bit further away. Now moving on to the upper rod section, if you loosen this hex screw, you'll be able to slide this upper rod up and down. Now that allows you to adjust the shift knob height. So moving on to the final 2 adjustments, you can see these 2 adjustable points right here. Now this point controls the side-to-side throw or gate selection, and then this controls the actual forward and back throw of your shifter. Now if you flip the shifter assembly over, you will notice that there are 5mm hex cap screws. Now you loosen these 2 screws in order to adjust the points up and down. If you want a throw length close to stock, simply move the pins all the way up, and if you want the shortest throws possible, simply move them to their lowest settings and then torque them to spec. Alright guys, so now that we have the short shifter assembly adjusted to the settings that we'd like, it is time to go ahead and install it into the 9th gen Civic right behind me. To begin, pull firmly down on the boot collar to separate the shift boot from the shift knob. Then loosen the 14mm locking nut to unscrew the shift knob. Unscrew the locking nut and engage the emergency brake. Use the plastic trim removal tool to pry under the boot trim piece starting from behind the shifter, and work your way forward to pull it off. Behind the panel, remove the aux cable and 12-volt power connectors by depressing their locking tabs and pulling firmly away from the panel. Lift up the armrest and pry at the top of the cup holder trim piece near the latch of the armrest as shown. Pry along the sides of this trim piece to remove it from the center console and off the emergency brake. Pull off one of the electrical connectors under the dashboard by depressing its locking tab. Repeat this on the last connector located behind the emergency brake. In the driver's side footwell, use a flathead screwdriver to remove 1 center console trim clip. Remove 2 more trim clips on the passenger side footwell area as shown. Remove 2 screws that are above the front of the OEM shifter and 2 more screws inside the center console using a number 2 Phillips screwdriver or 8mm socket. Remove the last center console screw behind the base of the OEM shifter assembly. Then pull the center console straight back to separate it from the dashboard and remove it from the car. Remove 2 10mm bolts that affix the rear center console bracket behind the base of the OEM shifter. Then move your way up to remove 2 10mm nuts under the shifter to remove the front center console bracket. Moving to the gate cable end link, remove a cotter pin and plastic bushing to pull off the end link from the shifter rocker arm. Moving down the cable, rotate the white locking clip outwards and twist the black bushing counterclockwise to loosen it from the shifter. Then grab both the gray and black bushing to pull the cable off of the shifter. On the gear change cable end link, spread apart the ends of the locking pin and pull down to remove it from the bottom of the shifter. Remove a wiring loom clip on the right side of the shifter using a small size socket or pick tool to release its locking tabs. Then remove the gear change cable using the same steps to remove the gate selector cable. Using a 12mm socket and extension, remove the 4 bolts that secure the OEM shifter assembly to the chassis of the car. With the bolts removed, we can now remove the OEM shifter from the car. Place the new shifter on the OEM shifter mounts as shown. Using an Allen socket and extension, secure the shifter down with the supplied screws and base bushings. Be sure to tighten down these screws to the correct torque specifications found in our install guide on our website. On the gate selector cable, twist the black bushing counterclockwise until the cable can slide onto the shifter, and center the cable in the bracket and release the black bushing to let it tighten itself down to the shifter. Rotate the white lock inwards until it snaps in place. Remove the cotter pin and plastic bushing from the shifter rocker arm, and install the gate cable end link onto the rocker arm. Secure it back in place with the plastic bushing and cotter pin. Mount the gear change cable using the same steps from installing the gate selector cable. Spread apart the cable end link locking pin and center the white bushing on the shifter in the end link. Push up until the locking pin is secured on top of the bushing. Alright guys, so with the short shifter installed, all that's left to do is to bolt the entire center console back together in the reverse steps that you use to disassemble it. But before we actually piece everything back together, I want to show you how awesome this shifter sounds now. Alright guys, so that pretty much wraps it up for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button, comment on the product itself, and subscribe to the channel. Now, to all my 9th gen enthusiasts out there, I hope that this video gives you guys the confidence you need in order to install one of these short shifters yourself. It should really only take you about an hour, 2 hours max, so it's the perfect DIY project for the weekend. Lastly, don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Facebook as well to stay even more up to date with all of our current projects and products themselves. That being said, my name is Pow and Song, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.